Welcome, my amazing students. So on this lecture here, what I want to do is I want to make this function a little bit more flexible. So for example, if we go to our shop right here, we can see that we do have two products here. If I go to my home page, yeah, that's the two products I got, and that's working fine. But you know what? The same functionalities that we are doing here is the same functionality here. But we do have two different functions, right? We can make that into one function. That's just going to make our application a little faster, because less code, the faster your application will be. So right now for that page, and that's a shop page, let me open my sidebar here. And if you see me, I'm using another tool. I hope you don't mind. This is called PHP Storm. I use it because it's an IDE. It's not an editor like I was using with Sublime. This is a little bit more powerful, and it gives me a little bit more tests for my errors. Okay, it would actually let me know in advance. And if you see here, you see this little gray thing here that you might be wondering about. This is like a placeholder. Okay, it knows that SQL comes here, and it gives that background letter there, but that's not included in my query. Okay, just to let you know, right here too, it notices that I'm doing regular expressions, and it knows that I need to put a pattern here and the replacement here for that specific function. But anyway, let's go to the shop page, and here you will notice that I'm using this function called get products in shop page, right? If I go to that function, you can see here in functions.php that we're basically doing the same thing. Okay, we are displaying a product, but without pagination. It would be nice to have pagination here as well, because here we could have 1,000 products, right? That would be a cumbersome problem if we don't have pagination. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go to function. Let's look for that product page. Let me just go to index real quick. That's faster for me. And let's go to function.php. So I want to use that function somewhere else. How can I do that? Well, first of all, I want to change the name of this function. Okay, so I'm going to call this get products with pagination, because that's what it's doing. We want to be specific about what it's doing. Okay, and I'm going to put that function in the shop page right here. Just like that. Let's go back and see what's happening in that shop. Refresh, and now you can see that it works, and we have pagination, but we have to fix this, right? So if we go to the home page, we're not seeing anything there because we took that function out and we didn't replace it in the other side, right? Actually, we changed the name, and that's what we did. That's okay. We just do that. And now we can come back, and that's working. But we need to fix this little thing here. So let's go back and fix that. So another thing that I want to do in here to make this function a little bit more flexible is that I want to access the per page. Instead of having it static here, I want to have it dynamic. I want this variable dynamic. So I'm going to take it off from there. You can see now that my IDE is telling me, hey, you need it right here. So I'm going to put it on the page right here, but I'm going to make it on the function, parentheses, but I'm going to make it optional. And here I'm going to put a default value of 6. Okay? So now if I come here, we have the same functionality, but we're a little bit less code here and more flexible because we have an optional parameter here for the function. Now I can come back from, let's say, index, and in here I can provide, let's say I want just one page, one product per page. If I refresh here, you can see now that it takes precedence over the other one. Okay, see, this is an optional. So this will get executed if I don't pass anything when I'm calling the function in the index page. If I don't pass anything here, then this will be called. And the default value sits, and it still counts right here. So that's a cool change that we created. We can update our shop page right here and display as many as we want. I want 3. And my IDE is, of course, smart enough to help me know that the per page variable goes there. Okay, but anyway, so that's one change there that I wanted to make, but I also want to make another change. If we go to this function, we can see down here that I don't have another button that I want to have. Okay, there's an information button to go to the other function had. Okay, so if I go to the shop and I do Command Z, you can see that this function right here, let's go to that function, and I'm gonna put it back. Okay, I just wanted to know what the function was. Okay, let's go back to the shop page. Let's put that function there again. Oops. It would, let me see if I remember. This one here. Let's come back here and let's just paste that in there. Okay, we're not going to put anything there. That's fine. But let's go to functions and look for this get products in shop page function. So you can see now that we do have a link that says more info here. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to copy it. So I'm copying the whole link. I'm going to paste it in the other function that I just got right here. So I'm going to paste it down here where the links are displaying. Right here. Okay. And I'm going to wrap this in a paragraph. Take that out from there. I'm going to wrap those two links in a paragraph. And if I go to see how that looks, let's refresh, and you can see now that those two links look like this. I want to make them a little bit more center. So I'm going to put a class on that paragraph of text center. Text center, just like that. Okay, refresh. And now you can see they moved a little bit. Okay, let's go back here, and if I click more info, it goes to the product. Perfect. So the next thing that I want to do is, if I go to the home page, you can see now that this navigation here doesn't have, it's not in its own line, it's not clearing. So we need this in CSS to clear it. So for that, if we go to this and inspect it, this is how I do it, and I inspect it, I can see that what's holding this here is this div. And if I do a clear both, do this in CSS, you can see now that we can clear it. So I'm going to hard code that because styling PHP items, styling them when they are going dynamic like this one, when they are being displayed dynamic, can be a hassle unless you hard code it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here in the div that's holding the pagination, as you can see right here, I'm going to style clear both. I'm going to add this style here, and if I refresh now, you can see now that that stays there. And if I go to the shop page, voila. Okay, so we did a really good improvement here in our shop page and our home page. We're using one function for both of those pages. We can reuse that function as many times as we want. Okay, keep in mind that they are always going to display this here. Okay, you can brainstorm and you can plan it out, you can play a little bit with it, and you can still make this function more flexible than what it is right now. Okay, there's a lot of things here that you can take and use somewhere else. Okay, or from somewhere else. Like what I would do is, if I was creating like a real project that I would take online or something like that, what I would do is I would put all the home functions in a home functions.php file, and then I will include this all the way here in this function.php. I will use this function.php for like general management of my functions. Okay, so up here I would do include, and I will include home functions, for example. Okay, and I will put all the functions in this file that has something to do with the home page, with this home page. That way everything is organized. If I had the admin functions, I would create an admin file like admin underscore functions.php, and we have all the admin reports functions, all the admin notice functions, and I will organize it in files like that. And I will even go as far as creating a directory called functions and put all those functions in there and then initialize them here. Okay, I will use this file to be initialized in config, in the config file. Okay, but anyway, that's what I would do if I was taking this a little bit more, thinking to have this project somewhere else. Okay, but anyway, this project has a lot more that it needs, you know, to be complete, and we're gonna learn a whole bunch of other stuff, guys. I'm always gonna keep updating this as much as I can. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next lecture.